Welcome to StoryLearn English. I am going to tell you a story. Through this story, you will not only relax and enjoy, but also improve your English listening skills and strengthen your ability to think in English. Also, it will help you to learn English naturally. So, let's go.
In a faraway valley, wrapped softly between blue mountains, there was a small, quiet village called Lunaris. The village was known for its peaceful nights, where silver moonlight washed over the fields, and where the wind carried the scent of jasmine. People in Lunaris lived simple lives, farming, weaving, crafting, fishing, singing, and dreaming. And in this village lived a young boy named Aaron. Aaron was gentle, curious, and kind. He loved stories of great adventurers, powerful scholars, brave explorers, and brilliant inventors. Every night, before falling asleep, he imagined himself becoming someone extraordinary, someone who could change the world. But there was one problem. Aaron did not like hard work. He dreamed big dreams, but he hoped those dreams would come true easily like magic. He wanted success without struggle, achievement without effort, and greatness without discomfort. Whenever tasks got difficult, he would stop. Whenever lessons got confusing, he would quit. Whenever others worked long hours, he would take long naps. His grandmother, who was wise and calm like the moon itself, used to tell him, "Aaron, my child, you cannot succeed in life without hard work. Dreams only grow when your hands and heart work together." Aaron would smile politely but never fully listen. He believed something else. Maybe one day something lucky will happen to me. Maybe success will come on its own. And so his life went on, full of dreams, but empty of effort. One evening, something happened that would change Aaron's life forever. The Festival of Lanterns. Every year, Lunaris held the Festival of Lanterns, a night when the entire village came alive with lights, music, dancing, and celebration. Children released floating lanterns into the sky, each lantern carrying a wish. This year, Aaron made the biggest wish of all. Standing by the river, holding his lantern, he whispered, "I wish to become great without struggling. I wish to succeed without working. I wish life would make everything easy for me." He released the lantern and watched it float gently upward, glowing softly against the dark sky. As it drifted away, a strange, warm wind brushed past him. Aaron blinked. For a moment, the world felt different, like the night itself was listening. That night, the sky glittered with thousands of lanterns, and children laughed, and elders shared stories, and music filled the air like ripples across water. Aaron walked home feeling hopeful, believing his wish had already been heard. But wishes do not work that way, and magic, when it arrives, never arrives how you expect. The Old Man by the River. The next morning, Aaron went to the river to fetch water for his grandmother. He walked lazily, humming to himself, imagining how successful he would soon be. Maybe he would become a famous storyteller, maybe a king's advisor, maybe an inventor. He certainly did not imagine carrying heavy water buckets for the rest of his life. When he reached the riverbank, he saw an old man sitting quietly on a rock, staring at the flowing water. His clothes were simple, but his eyes were bright and clear, like someone who had seen many seasons of life. Aaron asked politely, "Sir, do you need help?" The old man smiled. "Do you need help?" he asked instead. Aaron frowned. "Me? With what?" "Your dream," the old man said softly. "The one you tied to the lantern." Aaron froze. "How do you know about that?" But the old man did not answer. Instead, he stood up and pointed toward the quiet hill, a lonely hill that rose gracefully behind the village. He said, "Climb that hill. At the top, you will find what you are searching for." Aaron looked at the hill. It wasn't very big, but it was steep, covered with rocks and thorny bushes. He asked, "Why should I climb it?" "Because," the old man said, "every dream has a path, and every path requires effort. Go, start walking." Aaron shook his head. "No, thank you. I want success without doing difficult things." The old man smiled gently. "Then you want an impossible world, child." Aaron shrugged and walked away, pretending not to care. But the old man's words stayed in his mind. The dream that wasn't a dream. That night, Aaron fell asleep quickly. He dreamed of the quiet hill, except the hill was glowing with golden light, and a soft voice whispered, "Walk, climb, rise. Your dream waits for you." Aaron woke up sweating. His heart was racing. Something inside him stirred. A small voice he had always ignored whispered, Maybe I should try." Before dawn, when the village was still asleep, Aaron quietly stepped outside. The air was cool and the sky was painted with pale silver light. For the first time in his life, without being asked, without being forced, he walked toward the quiet hill. His steps were small. His heart was uncertain. But he walked. One tiny decision had already changed the direction of his life. The first steps of struggle. Aaron reached the base of the quiet hill just as the sun began to rise. Light spread slowly across the valley. Birds woke and began to sing. The world felt peaceful, except Aaron's mind was full of fear. "Why am I doing this?" he whispered. He looked up the hill. It looked much steeper now, much harder, much higher. "Maybe I should go home," he told himself. "No one will know I tried." But then he remembered something his grandmother often said. Every great journey begins with a step, not with knowing the whole path, just one step. Aaron put one foot forward, and then another. At first the path was easy, a gentle slope, soft soil, light breeze. But soon it became rocky, then tiring, then painful. Aaron stopped many times. His legs burned, his breath felt heavy. His mind screamed, "Why are you doing this?" But he kept going. And the higher he climbed, the more he realized something important. He had always quit too early. He had always stopped the moment things got hard. He had always avoided discomfort. And now the hill, this simple hill, was teaching him the lesson he had refused to learn his whole life. You cannot succeed in life without hard work. The words echoed in his mind, his grandmother's voice, the old man's voice, the voice in his dream. Hard work was not punishment. It was the path, the only path. Aaron closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and continued climbing. Not quickly, not easily, but honestly. Step by step, breath by breath, effort by effort. The quiet hill was no longer just a hill. It was the beginning of his transformation.
The Girl with the Worn Shoes. As Aaron climbed, he heard footsteps behind him. Light, quick, steady. When he turned, he saw a girl around his age. She had a small backpack, worn shoes, and a bright smile. Her hair was tied in a messy braid, and her eyes sparkled with determination. "Are you climbing the quiet hill too?" she asked. Erin nodded, trying not to sound exhausted. "Yes, I'm trying." The girl laughed softly. "Trying is good. Trying is the beginning of doing." She moved past him with surprising energy, stepping over rocks and roots as if she had climbed this hill many times before. After a moment, she stopped, turned around, and waited for him. "You coming?" she asked gently. Erin took a deep breath and followed. The girl climbed confidently, but Erin noticed her shoes had holes, and her backpack looked old. Clearly her life wasn't easy, yet she moved like someone who refused to give up. "My name is Lyra," she said as they climbed. "I'm Erin." "What brings you here, Erin?" He hesitated. I want to succeed. I want something big, something special. But I never liked working hard. I wished for success without effort." Lyra smiled, not unkindly. "Everyone wants that at first, but easy success never stays. Hard work is what makes it real." Erin looked at her again, her worn shoes, her determined eyes, and realized she understood hardship more than he ever had. They continued climbing together. The path of thorns. Soon the path became rougher. Bushes with sharp thorns blocked the way. Rocks were slippery and unstable. Branches scratched their arms and legs. "Maybe we should go back," Erin whispered, the old habit of quitting rising inside him. Lyra shook her head. "No, this is part of the journey. The hard parts are what change us." Erin touched a thorny branch. It pricked his finger and left a tiny drop of blood. He winced. Lyra noticed. "It hurts, doesn't it?" "Yes. That means you're learning." They used sticks to push aside thorny branches. Sometimes they crawled. Sometimes they had to walk sideways on narrow edges. Once, Erin slipped, but Lyra grabbed his wrist quickly. "Careful," she said softly. "Success comes from falling and rising, not just rising." Erin nodded, breathing heavily. As they pushed forward, he felt something new, something strange. He felt proud. Not proud of finishing, but proud of not giving up yet. For the first time in his life, he didn't run from difficulty. He faced it. And each small step made him feel stronger. The wind that tests you. When they reached a higher part of the hill, the wind changed. It grew colder, sharper, noisier, as though the hill itself was asking, "Do you really want this?" The wind pushed against them, making each step feel twice as hard. Erin's hair blew wildly, dust hit his eyes, his clothes flapped loudly. He shouted over the noise, "Why is the wind so strong?" Lyra replied, "Every dream has a test. When things push against you, you learn how badly you want to move forward." Erin tried to step forward, but the wind pushed him back. He tried again, and again. He clenched his jaw. He planted his feet firmly and leaned into the wind. Every muscle in his legs burned, but he kept moving. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Lyra watched him with a small smile. "You're doing it," she said. Erin's voice trembled. "It's so hard." "Yes, but look, you're still going." A quiet realization touched Erin's heart. He was stronger than he had ever believed.
The resting stone. Eventually, the wind softened, and they reached a large, flat stone where grass grew gently around the edges. Lyra sat down and patted the space beside her. "Let's rest," she said. Aaron dropped down, exhausted. His legs throbbed, his arms ached, his clothes were dusty and torn. "Why am I even doing this?" he muttered. Lyra looked up at the sky. "The same reason I am," she said softly, "to find our path." Aaron lay back and stared at the clouds moving lazily above them. He felt peaceful, but also uncertain. "How do you stay motivated?" he asked. Lyra hugged her knees. "Because I want a different life," she said. "I want to help my family. I want to learn. I want to become someone who makes a difference. And I know that won't happen if I stop every time things get hard." Aaron listened carefully. Lyra continued, "My father always said, effort is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. So every day I build that bridge, one small stone at a time." Aaron swallowed. He had always waited for magic to change his life. He had never thought about building bridges. "What if I'm not strong enough?" he whispered. Lyra shook her head gently. "Strength doesn't come before the journey. It comes from the journey." Aaron closed his eyes. He felt something warm in his chest, something like hope. The river above the hill. After resting, they continued climbing until they heard a strange, soft sound. Water. But how could there be water at the top of a hill? They hurried toward the sound. And then they saw it. A small river flowing along the ridge, sparkling under the morning sun, clear as crystal. It was calm, peaceful, gentle. Aaron knelt beside it and dipped his hands in. The water was cool and refreshing. Lyra smiled. "This river appears only to those who climb with honesty." Aaron looked up quickly. "What do you mean?" "It's a river of reflection," she explained. "It shows not who you are now, but who you can become if you keep moving forward." Aaron stared into the water. At first, he saw his tired face, sweaty, dusty, worn. But then, something shifted. He saw himself standing tall on a higher mountain someday, confident, hard-working, brave. He saw himself helping others. He saw himself succeeding not because of luck, but because of effort. His breath caught. "Is that really me?" Lyra nodded gently. "That is the version of you that your hard work will create." Aaron touched the water again, feeling its coolness travel through his fingertips into his heart. In that moment, he understood something deeply. Everything he wanted in life was possible, but only if he was willing to climb. The Stone of Choices. Beyond the shining river, the path narrowed again until Aaron and Lyra reached a strange sight. A massive stone split into two halves, forming two different paths. An inscription was carved into the stone. "Two paths rise. One easy, one hard. Only one leads upward." Aaron stared at the two paths. The first path was smooth, flat, bright. Flowers grew along the edges. Birds perched in the branches above it. It looked pleasant, almost too pleasant. The second path was steep and rocky. The climb looked painful. There were thorns, loose stones, and uneven steps. Aaron swallowed. "This feels like a test." "It is," Lyra said. "Everyone who climbs a dream must choose which path to take." Aaron pointed at the smooth path. This one, it looks so easy. Lyra nodded. And it ends quickly. She pointed at the harder path. This one is difficult, but it leads you higher. Aaron hesitated. He felt the old part of him whisper, "Choose the easy way. Why suffer? Why struggle?" But another voice, the new one awakened inside him, whispered, "You came this far. Don't turn back now." Aaron looked at Lyra. "Which one will you take?" Lyra smiled softly. "The hard one. Always." Without waiting, she stepped onto the rocky path. Aaron took a deep breath and followed her. With each painful step, something inside him grew stronger. The cave of echoing truths. The harder path led them to the entrance of a cave. The air inside was cool and carried a quiet humming sound, like distant voices whispering. Aaron looked uneasy. "Do we have to go in there?" "Yes," Lyra said calmly. "This cave reflects your hidden truths. Whatever you fear, avoid, or hide, you will hear it here." Aaron felt a shiver run down his spine. They stepped inside. The cave was dark, except for tiny glowing crystals along the walls. Their light was soft, bluish, and calming. The deeper they walked, the more the cave echoed their footsteps. Then it began. A voice whispered, Aaron's own voice. "You are lazy. You always quit. You never finish anything. You expect life to give you success without earning it." Aaron froze. Lyra squeezed his shoulder gently. "These are echoes of your old self. Don't run from them. Listen." More whispers came. "You are afraid of failing. You doubt yourself. You hide from challenges. You pretend to dream big, but refuse to work big." Aaron clenched his fists. The words hurt, but they were true. For so long, he had been protected from his own truth. But now, in this cave, there was no hiding. Aaron took a deep breath. "Yes," he whispered aloud. "I was like that, but I'm changing." The echoes softened. Then new whispers came. "You are trying. You are learning. You are growing. You are becoming stronger. You are becoming honest." Aaron's eyes warmed. The cave wasn't punishing him, it was acknowledging his transformation. When they reached the other side of the cave, he felt lighter, like he had left behind a version of himself that no longer served him. The bridge of patience. Outside the cave, they found a narrow wooden bridge, stretching across a deep canyon. The bridge swayed gently in the wind. Aaron gulped. "Is it safe?" Lyra stepped onto it. The wood creaked, but held firm. "Safe enough, if you go slowly." Aaron stepped onto the bridge and immediately froze. The drop below was terrifying, far deeper than he expected. The canyon stretched endlessly, filled with fog. "I can't do this," he said weakly. "Yes, you can, but only if you move one step at a time. Not by rushing, not by jumping, just slow, steady, patient steps." Aaron clung to the rope rails and walked. Every board creaked. Every gust of wind made the bridge tremble. His heart pounded loudly. But Lyra walked ahead of him, turning around every few seconds. "You're doing great," she said. Aaron breathed heavily, step by step, slowly, carefully. After what felt like hours, he reached the other side and collapsed on the ground, trembling. Lyra helped him up. "Well done," she said warmly. Aaron realized the lesson. Some challenges cannot be rushed. They require patience, balance, and calm effort. Success was not only about strength, it was also about steadiness. the field of endless steps. Beyond the canyon was a quiet field covered with short grass. The sky turned golden as the sun drifted across it. Right in the center of the field stood a wooden sign. "This field never ends unless you continue." Aaron frowned. "What does that mean?" Lyra smiled knowingly. "You'll see." They began walking. It was easy at first. Soft ground, fresh air, a warm breeze. But after a while, Aaron realized something strange. The field looked the same in every direction. No matter how far they walked, nothing changed. "Are we stuck here?" Aaron asked. Lyra nodded. "This is the field of consistency. It tests whether you can do simple things again and again without giving up." Aaron sighed. "So we just keep walking?" "Yes. Because success is not built on one big effort. It is built on many small, repeated steps." Minutes passed. Then hours. The field remained the same, calm and endless. Aaron's legs grew tired. His mind wandered. He felt restless. "This is boring," he complained. Lyra looked at him kindly. "That's the point. Consistency is not exciting, but it builds the foundation that greatness stands on." Aaron took a deep breath and continued walking. Step after step after step. Then suddenly, the field changed. A clump of tall trees appeared in the distance. The spell had broken. Aaron smiled despite his exhaustion. He had passed another test. The old man returns. When they reached the trees, a familiar figure waited under their shade. The old man from the river. Aaron gasped. "You again!" The old man smiled warmly. "You have climbed far, child. Farther than you ever believed you could." Aaron felt his heart swell. "Why are you here?" "To give you the next truth," the old man said gently. "You have learned effort, honesty, patience, and consistency. But one lesson remains before you reach the highest part of the hill." Aaron leaned forward eagerly. "What lesson?" The old man touched Aaron's chest lightly. "Courage. The courage to continue when you don't know what comes next. The courage to fail and rise. The courage to choose the harder path when the easier path calls your name." Aaron swallowed. He felt scared, but also stronger. The old man stepped aside and pointed to a narrow trail leading upward into thick mist. "Go," he said. "The next climb will test your courage, but you are ready." Aaron looked at Lyra. She nodded, her eyes shining. Together, they stepped into the mist, towards the next stage of the journey, towards the next part of their becoming. The mist of doubts. As Aaron and Lyra stepped into the thick mist, the world became quiet. Too quiet. They could barely see their own hands. The air felt heavy, like a blanket wrapped around their minds. Each breath sounded loud in the silent fog. Aaron whispered, "Lyra, are you still here?" "Yes," her voice answered from somewhere close. "But stay calm. This is the mist of doubts." "Doubts?" Aaron repeated. "Yes. Here your mind will test you more than your muscles." Suddenly, shapes appeared in the fog, shadows of failure, fear, confusion. A voice whispered, "You will never make it." Another, "Turn back. This is pointless." Then, "You are not strong enough." Aaron's heart tightened. The mist seemed to press against his thoughts. He felt small again, weak again,
like the boy who always quit. Lyra's hand found his. She said, "Listen to me," she said gently. "Doubt appears when you are close to something important. Walk forward. Don't argue with doubt. Just keep moving." Aaron took a shaky breath, then another. Step by step, they walked forward, and slowly the whispers faded. The mist thinned, then dissolved, and sunlight touched their faces again. They had passed through doubt by simply continuing. The slope of courage. The mist cleared to reveal a steep slope rising toward the sky. The trail was thin and broken, with sharp rocks scattered everywhere. Lyra looked at it calmly. "This is it," she said, "the slope of courage." Aaron stared upward. "It looks impossible." "Impossible only until you try." They climbed slowly. Every step felt risky. Every rock felt unstable. Aaron slipped more than once. Lyra stumbled too. Their arms and legs grew scraped and sore. At one point, Aaron fell to his knees, breath shaking. "I can't. I really can't. Not this one." Lyra knelt beside him. "You don't need to climb the whole slope at once. Just look at the next step, only the next one." Aaron looked at a stone just ahead of him. Small, plain, simple. "I can do that," he said softly. He stepped on it, then the next, and the next. Soon he found a rhythm, slow but steady. By moving one step at a time, the impossible became possible. They reached the top of the slope just as the sun began to set in gold and red. Aaron turned back and gasped. The view was breathtaking, the whole valley shining like a painting. I did that," he whispered. Lyra nodded proudly. "Yes, because you chose courage when fear tried to stop you." The night of rest before the final climb. As darkness approached, they found a small flat area where a tiny fire pit had been built long ago by other climbers. They gathered sticks, made a small fire, and sat together. Aaron stared into the flames. He felt tired, but in a beautiful way, tired with meaning. "Aaron," he said softly, "why do you climb this hill? What waits for you at the top?" She smiled sadly. "I want to learn. I want to study in the big academy in the capital. But my family is poor. The only way to earn a scholarship is by proving that I can overcome the quiet hill." Aaron blinked. "So, this is your chance for a different life?" "Yes," she whispered, "and I won't waste it." Aaron felt a deep respect for her. She wasn't climbing for pride or glory. She was climbing for her future. And now, he realized, he was too. Not for fame, not for luck, but for the person he wanted to become. They slept under the stars, the fire crackling softly beside them. The guardian of the summit. At dawn, they began the last climb. The path led to a towering stone arch shaped like two wings, and under it stood the old man. Again. But this time he looked different, taller, brighter, almost glowing. Aaron whispered, Who are you really?" The old man smiled. "A guide, a guardian of the path, a watcher of dreams." He stepped toward Aaron.
You climbed through pain, fear, doubt, patience, effort, and courage. You have learned what so many never understand. He raised a hand gently. Success is not a gift. It is a shape carved by effort, a mountain built by steps, a dream fed by discipline, a heart strengthened by struggle. Aaron felt those words settle deep inside him. He turned to Lyra. And you, pure of heart, brave in spirit, strong in purpose, you are ready. He stepped aside. Go, he said. The summit is yours. Aaron and Lyra climbed the final few steps together. And then they reached it. The summit of the quiet hill. The wind was gentle. The sky was wide and infinite. The sun bathed everything in golden light. A single stone tablet stood at the top. Carved into it were the words, "You do not conquer the hill. You conquer yourself." Aaron touched the stone. He remembered every struggle, the thorns, the wind, the cave, the bridge, the endless field, the mist, the slope, and he understood. The climb had not changed the world. It had changed him. He felt stronger, clearer, braver than ever before. Lyra wiped a tear from her eye. "We did it," she whispered. "Yes," Aaron said softly. "We changed." The gift of the summit. Suddenly, the stone tablet glowed softly. Two small objects appeared on its surface, one for each of them. Aaron picked up his. It was a simple wooden token, carved with a symbol of the hill. "What is this?" he asked. Lyra examined hers. "A reminder," she said, "a proof of our journey." Aaron held the token gently. He didn't feel powerful. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt ready, ready for whatever his life would bring.
The descent. The way down was easier, but quieter. Aaron noticed something surprising. He wasn't daydreaming about success anymore. He wasn't hoping for magic anymore. He was thinking about working, about learning, about growing, about helping his grandmother, about practicing English, about becoming someone worthy of the dreams he once treated carelessly. Lyra walked beside him, humming softly. "You've changed," she said. Aaron smiled. "I finally understand something. Success isn't a wish, it's a direction." "And a decision," Lyra added. "And a habit," he said. They both laughed. Return to Lunaris. When they reached Lunaris, the villagers gasped. No one had seen Aaron climb anything more challenging than a staircase. Yet here he was, dusty, tired, and glowing with confidence. His grandmother cried softly as she hugged him. "You climbed the hill," she whispered. "Yes," Aaron said, "and I learned why you always told me to work hard." She held his face gently. "You climbed more than a hill, my child. You climbed the old version of yourself." A new Aaron. In the days that followed, Aaron woke up early. He practiced reading and writing. He helped in the fields. He asked questions. He stayed patient. He accepted challenges. He studied English stories, vocabulary, and listening. He worked harder than ever before. not because someone forced him, but because he discovered the beauty of effort. Lyra received her scholarship and left for the capital. Aaron waved proudly as she departed, promising to meet her someday as someone worthy of her friendship. And as Aaron grew, the village soon began to say, "There is a fire inside that boy, a fire that was born on the quiet hill." The final lesson. Years later, Aaron himself became a teacher of young dreamers. Every time he saw a child who wanted greatness without effort, he smiled gently and told them, "You cannot succeed in life without hard work. Dreams are beautiful, but effort is what makes them real." And sometimes, on quiet evenings, he would walk to the quiet hill and sit at its base, remembering the boy he once was and the one step that changed everything. The step that began with a choice. The choice to try, to climb, to grow, to work, to become. And so his story lived on.
Thank you so much for listening to today's story. If you want to learn English through relaxing bedtime stories and improve your listening skills, please subscribe to StoryLearn English and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a new story. Sleep well, keep learning, and see you in the next one.